Hello, hello everybody on YouTube. This is Nikki Wunderlich, and I have my significant other here, Armando, and we wanted to do a video for you guys today about relationships.
Hello. Nice to be here with you all. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
And and I think I'll let you start this off, Nikki, but we've actually wanted to talk about this in light of a situation that happened a few days ago. So I
Mm-hmm.
will let you take over on that one.
Well, we feel that we need to bring a few key points to light. One, in a relationship, no matter if it's just starting out like ours, or if it's been going on for a while, if someone tells you something in confidence, whether they say it's in confidence or not, you need to respect that.
Yes, and I actually agree with that point. Before you go any further, I agree with that point just for the simple fact that in a relationship, as she pointed out, confidence is one of the main points when it comes to trust. Because without trust,
Yes,
there's no relationship. If that makes sense.
exactly.
Case in point, there was a few people. There was a person that her and I know about that they were in a relationship, and their significant other told that person something that was not to be brought to light. And as a result, this person decided, for whatever reason, to bring it to light, which resulted in them splitting. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been on both sides of the spectrum, okay? I've been the person who has instigated such bad behavior, but I've also been in the position that the person in question has been in. And from the person who has been a victim of such horrendous behavior, it is not a it is not a good situation to be in. It's not a good position because at that point you're thinking in your mind, I was so in love with this person. Why did I trust them? Why did I do this? Why did I do that? You're bringing the self guilt that
Exactly.
really you're bringing self guilt that really doesn't need to be brought because of that one person's actions.
And not only that, but it makes it harder to trust people in the future.
I can see that from your perspective.
Like when Mike um did the cell phone thing to me, which I talked about both on here
Hmm.
and to you in private, it made me wonder if I could trust again.
Whether you're a lady, whether you're a man, trust has no gender discrimination. Trust is an equal thing. And if you're going to sit there and not respect your partner, then why be in a relationship just to say that you have someone in your life? Because with that, I'm sure Nikki will bring up more points in the feed and as we go through the stream or through the live stream. But trust is a huge thing, and no
It
matter if
is.
you're whether you're in a significant other relationship, whether you have somebody in your life, whether you're at work, as friends, family. Trust
Mm-hmm.
is a huge, big thing.
It is.
A-
It's a really big, humongous thing, actually.
And if you cannot keep your mouth shut, then how are people supposed to believe in you or feel that they can be safe around you?
Right.
I mean, that's all I
Um,
can really say other than learn to keep your mouth shut, learn when to and when not to disclose what's being
right.
said. Most of all, learn to respect yourself as well as the person whom is trusting you to keep sensitive information, even if you have to take
Right.
it to your grave.
Right. For example, my best friend has and I have disclosed secrets to each other that I will take to my grave.
The same thing with me and my big sister that some of you may or may not know about, but and I say this because really she's not my sister in blood, but she calls me her bro just for the simple fact that her and I get along so well. We started off as friends, but because we've developed this connection, this deep connection, this trust, that she took me on as her bro. And with that, there are a lot of things that she's told me that literally I don't care who you are, I cannot divulge because she has trust in me to keep it until we go to the grave. And the same thing
Right.
with Nikki. If she has people that are telling her sensitive stuff, she has to take it to her grave unless it's okay with that person.
Right. The only, and I stress only, time I would consider divulging something that someone told me if it's something they don't want other people knowing is if it's like they're contemplating um
Suicide.
yes.
See, there
I
you
was
go.
trying to figure out a
So let me put it to you in a quote unquote psychology slash social work field perspective. You have to keep trust and confidentiality between you and whomever it is at all times. There are only three reasons you are allowed to break confidentiality and trust. Number one, as Nikki said, if you are contemplating on wanting to end your life or commit suicide. Two, if you are in harm's way, like if somebody wants to harm you or whatever, whether it's abuse or whatever happens along that realm. And
mhm.
three, if you have been neglected. Let's say for
Yep.
example, let's say for example, your mom or somebody. Let's say you tell me, for example, that your mom neglected you from having food and you've been starving for weeks.
Mhm.
At that time, that's when I can interfere and say, we need to get you help. And I'm going to call Adult Protective Services and we're going to do something about it. Because that is a negligence and harm to humanity.
Right. Which for the record has not happened.
Right, but I'm just giving as an example when I can interfere. Now, if Nikki
Right.
were to say, my friend Tom said this to me, I can't go around and tell other people that her friend Tom said this. And of course, these are just examples. You know, I'm not saying that she does or doesn't have a friend named what I mentioned, but
Hello, Willie Rosato.
Hey, welcome. And I think another thing that is, so you mentioned trust and confidentiality as your key point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now I guess I'll take turn. I'll take a turn on this, or I'll take a
Okay.
stab. Another thing that needs to happen in a relationship is learning to communicate,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's whether it's good or bad.
That's another
Communic
biggie.
Yep. Communication is one of those things where you need you need to open up to your significant other and say, this is bothering me. You need to basically let that person know, okay, this is bothering me. I want to talk about this. Let's find a way to handle it so it doesn't get out of hand. Or to say, Nikki, I
Let's
need
say
to
I
hang out
had
with so and so.
let's
Or in
say
your
I
case,
had
you
a
had a
habit
migraine.
of clicking pens and that irritated Armando. He could come to me and say, Nikki, that really irritates me. Can you please stop? And I'd be like, okay.
Hmm. Or, we do this a lot, you and I. So I'll go ahead and say this just because, not to bring up personal things, but
Right.
it's a common thing that happens a lot. Armando, I have a migraine. I gotta go to bed. I gotta lay down. Maybe when I feel better, I'll communicate with you. Instead of saying, you know what, you don't want to talk to me, you're this, you're that, you just want to avoid me or whatever. It's more like, okay, I understand you have a migraine. Get some rest, and if you're up to it, we can talk later. If not, we'll revisit the situation tomorrow or whenever you feel better.
Right.
By you saying that, you're not only acknowledging the person and how they're feeling, but you're being the better person. And
And by
you're being
me
the better.
letting him know
Go ahead.
that, hey, I have a migraine, I'm letting him know, hey, I need to lay down so I can take care of me. It's letting him know what I need in the moment so that we can communicate maybe later.
And we can't spend the time that we want to spend.
Right.
So communication is always a big thing. Or when I say, hey, I'm going to go hang out with my family. If you're up to it, I'll text you. And maybe we can talk after I'm done with whatever I'm doing.
Right. And I always say, okay, if I don't respond right away, then I probably have a migraine. But if I respond, then we're good to chat.
But communication and trust and confidentiality is the biggest things within a relationship. Because without those
Yep.
things that we just mentioned so far, I'm sorry to say this, but you're not going to go nowhere.
Yes, it is.
And do we have any comments, Nikki? While you check, I will keep on talking.
It says, communication is important to both parties involved.
Thank you. See, there you got it. So,
And then we got another comment that says, I agree with you guys.
thank you. So, I think another thing that needs to be said too is if there's any sort of disagreements or if it ends for whatever reason, It's better that you and the person affected deal with it versus you being immature about it and involving other
Other
people.
people. And if it ends, don't sit there yourself and blow up their phone either.
Yes, that is the worst thing
That's
one can
not
do. It.
okay.
Yep, that is the worst one can do. I'm gonna share a little story that I shared on my own channel, which, by the way, you can find me at Maldonado0767 on my YouTube channel for those who want to find me there. If not, then maybe in the comments after the live stream's over, I will post my actual link so people can subscribe. But in that in a video that I did, uh, I mentioned the story that I'm going to share here. There was a situation back in 2009 where I was involved in a relationship, and mind you, this was with a sighted person. Okay, this has nothing to do with the
Mhm.
fact that they were blind or not, but this was with a sighted person. So the relationship ended sourly, and I just walked away and did what I do best, which is stay away from the person, let them have their space, and just if people ask me questions, I didn't speak neither good nor bad about it. I just said, well, things didn't work out or whatever.
Mhm.
This other person went as far as to get her in-home support services uh, worker involved, fabricated a restraining order saying all these lies that I never did because at that time she was previously married, but she wanted to throw the fact that what her ex-husband did, she wanted to throw it on me, and that was abusive both verbally and physically.
Mm-mm.
And and what happened is when the college and people got wind of it, they all stood behind me. They all wrote letters. And to further add insult to injury, this person would go and try to frequent places I would be at so that I would try to get in trouble by the police. And basically, what happened was people caught wind of it from the college security campus to all the deans that when it came time to to almost go to trial, this person had no leg to stand on because there was a pile of letters after letters after letters talking about my character, and basically she had nothing. So what saved me was the fact that the judge looked at everything and dismissed the case. Now, for some people who think it's cute to do something like that, if the person you're harassing is smart enough, you yourself could be thrown in jail due to harassment and stalking and whatever else they do.
Mhm.
And that is not a position you do not want to be in.
Exactly.
That is not a position
And
you'd rather want to be in.
and before we continue, we have two comments.
Okay.
Willie says, "Oh my goodness, that's not good."
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth says, "That's not right." And no, it's not.
It's not right. But especially for the people in the blindness community, I hate to tell you this,
What
but
was
whether you're
done to
blind or
you?
not, yeah, I hate to say it to the blindness community at large, but if you're going to continue with that type of behavior, you better be prepared to face the consequences because not even your own mommy or your guardian or people can save you because the justice system does not discriminate whether you're handicapped or not.
No, it
They're
does
gonna throw
not.
you. They're gonna throw you in jail, and you're gonna pay the price, just like everybody else. You're no different than
Mm-hmm.
your cited counterparts.
And if you are in jail for more than 30 days, guess what? Bye bye SSI.
Or any government assistance.
Yep.
So that is something that you do not want to involve yourself in. So before you start harassing your quote unquote girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever it is, let me ask you to think about two things. One, is it worth it to the point to where they could be smart and perhaps throw you in jail? And two, imagine if you were them and that was done to you. How would you feel?
Mm-hmm.
Y-
Oh my gosh. I am so sorry that happened to you.
Oh, was that a comment?
Yeah. Um, Elizabeth. Elizabeth, do you care if I read your comment out loud? It's something that happened to her, that's why I'm asking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a very nice something.
No, that's fine. We can respect that. But in essence,
Okay.
all right, go ahead.
Okay. Um, she has she had a friend whose ex would say that she's into the same gender as she is
Mm-hmm.
as herself because the first few letters of her last name are are the same as queer.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So not to so to kind of put a touch to this topic to bring it home, you need to really think about your actions and how it's going to affect others. Especially if you think it's okay, if it's okay to blow up people's phones or stalker status or to involve your supposed friends that you may or may never meet, especially those within the blindness community who want to hide behind keyboards and smartphones and Team Talk and Zoom and Skype or whatever you guys use, Clubhouse.
Right?
You know,
That's why I said I'm sorry that it happened to her.
mm-hmm.
And that's why I asked if it was okay if I read her comment out loud so you could comment as well.
Yep. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's sad. It's the sad truth. People are very cruel these days.
Yeah,
What else, hon? I know you have more on your mind.
I do. And don't try to control your significant other. Like, don't try to tell them, oh, block this person. Don't be friends with that person. That person's not good. Blah, 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 blah. Let them choose their own friends.
Let them choose their own battles.
Yes,
It's often easy. It is easy enough for all of us to get carried away just because we had bad dealings with a specific person. Just because you've had a bad dealing with a specific person doesn't mean that they're a bad person. You just
right.
happen to set them off in such a way where They don't want to be around you,
Right.
but that doesn't make them a bad person.
Right.
I mean, I cannot tell you how many times people have said, "Oh, I heard from so and so that you're a bad person," or "I heard from so and so that you do this." A when the moment you say that, that makes you that makes you basically not any better than the person who spread that rumor or who said that to you. Because what you're basically saying to me is that I can't trust you. I shouldn't be friends with you because you are a follower of gossip. You are a follower of drama. You are a follower of people's perception. Basically, you want to follow the leader. And if that's the way you're going to conduct yourself, then quite frankly, and I'm only going to say this once, quite frankly, I don't want nothing to do with you. I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to even date you. I don't want you to talk to me. No, because
Exactly.
I'm setting boundaries because with school and stuff going on in the near future, that is the last thing I need in my mind. Is for people to blow up my phone and say, "Oh, by the way, Nikki said that you did this," or just as an example, or by the way, so and so said that you did this, or you're this or you're that. Is that true?
Right.
You don't need to be a follower or measure up to people or to be involved in a clique, whatever it is. You don't need none of that.
Right.
If you're choosing to be that, then you're making yourself not any better than the person who you think is your friend. Because the moment you do
Right.
something wrong, they're going to turn around and backstab you.
Right. They're gonna be poof
Yeah,
gone.
that is why I despise the blindness community at large. That is why I make people's heads cringe. Because I specifically tell them I was not I was not taught the way you guys were taught. I was not in a clique the way you guys were. I am not a product of the school for the blind. Therefore, I grew up in a sighted community, and I am to basically treat people the way I was taught within the sighted community at large.
I was taught to treat people the way I want to be treated as well, and therefore I also agree with you.
Maybe perhaps your school for the blind over sheltered you. Maybe your school for the blind didn't teach you any manners, for all we know. But in any case, that gives you no right to sit there and try to dictate to people what they should or shouldn't do, whether they are your friend, whether they are your significant other, or whoever it is.
Right.
Let that person make their own decisions. Let them
Exactly. You are
let them
not
choose their
them.
own battle.
You are not their guardian. You are not their parent, unless you are. But most likely you're not if you're in a relationship with them.
Whether it's friendship or boyfriend girlfriend or girlfriend girlfriend or whatever you call it.
Right. Or even boyfriend.
Yep.
Most likely you are not their parent and you are not their guardian. So do not tell them what to do. Ask. Ask. Ask.
Hmm.
And show
That's
respect.
you love, respect, and treat those the way you want to be loved, respected, and treated.
Right. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Any more comments?
Just the one from Elizabeth saying that person didn't even want to meet her because they thought she was um
Well,
gonna be more like of an aggressive person, but she's more like mellow.
well, again, it's people's it's people and their stupid perception of how
Yep.
they want to frame you.
Yep.
And quite honestly, for you, Elizabeth, all I can say is maybe it was a blessing that you didn't meet that person
Exactly.
because we don't know. With what you just said, we don't know if that person could have been toxic. We don't know if that person could have been way too clingy, dependent on you.
Right.
There's a lot of things that we wouldn't have known if you would have had that opportunity to meet, or that you wouldn't have known, rather, but still.
Right.
If you're going to be independent, then show that you're going to be independent. Otherwise, don't claim that you're going to be independent and turn around and say the opposite or do the opposite of what you said you are.
Right. Normally, I am independent.
As am I.
However, the situation I am in, I am not as independent as I normally am. I- And that's all I'm going to say about that right now.
And that's okay. I looked past that, Nikki, when I asked you to be mine. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, just because you're not independent, I don't want to be with you.
Right.
That is so wrong on so many different levels.
Well, because you know that normally I'm really independent.
Well, I'm just saying from an outside perspective,
Right.
that is wrong on so many levels
Right.
because not only am I degrading you,
Right.
but I'm also not being honest with myself.
Right.
If I wanted to be with you, Nikki, like I've said to
Mm
you before, and I'll say this again just as an example,
hmm. Mm hmm.
I'm going to love and respect you and accept you for who you are. Not
Right.
because you're rich, not because you're independent or dependent, not because you have a guardian or no guardian, not because you're financially there or not there.
Right.
I'm going to accept you for who you are, baggage or no baggage,
Right.
because I'm ready to take on that responsibility. I'm ready to
Right.
be with you.
Exactly. And I feel
And,
the same way.
and if people are going to sit there and judge others based on status, then you're in the wrong
Exactly.
because you're not being honest with yourself and then you're not being honest with the person whom you're interested with.
Right.
Which that's another thing too. Honesty is also a big thing.
Yes, it
If you
is.
mess if you mess up, admit your mistakes. Be a man about it. In my case, be a man about it and say, "Look, I messed up. I'm sorry. I admit that what I did was wrong. I will do my best to clean up my act so that whatever I did doesn't happen again."
I'm sorry I missed that voiceover was talking.
So basically what I said that if I'm if I mess up,
Mm
as an
hmm.
example, I'm
Mm
gonna
hmm.
come to you and say, "Look, I messed up. I'm sorry.
Mm hmm.
I shouldn't have done what I did. I admit my wrongdoing, and I will do my best not to let it happen again."
Same here. Well, probably not those exact words, but something to that effect.
Right. I was just throwing that out there as a example.
Right. I'd probably say, I'm sorry, I messed up, I apologize, and I will do my best not to let it happen again.
Because you're acknowledging their feelings by doing that.
Right.
But honesty is a big thing. Learn to admit
Yes.
your mistakes, whether they hurt or not. You're a better person if you admit, versus if you try to hide away from the situation.
Yep. Oh, Elizabeth said that she heard that hang on.
Okay.
Um she knows they were toxic cuz that same person that she was telling us about said that her friend should um take her own. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to finish that. Sorry,
No, no, you're
Elizabeth.
fine. I kind of get where you're going with it, but still. Basically, the friend is saying that she should take
The
her own
life adv-
life.
Oh, Thomas commented.
Uh huh.
Said congratulations to the both of you on your relationship.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But hopefully, with those tips in mind, you can be as successful as you can be within your relationships. I'm sure you have more to say, Nikki.
Huh?
I'm sure you have more to say besides after the honesty that I just mentioned. But hopefully, with those tips that we threw out there, people can be successful in their relationship, whether it's work or friendships, relationships, whatever it is.
I was just gonna say, I think a certain person who just tuned in
Mm-hmm.
should watch this video from the beginning,
Yeah.
and he knows who he is.
Yes.
Um, him
Yes.
and his girlfriend just broke up, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Yes. Yes. We'll leave it at that. But
Yes.
anyhow, I kind of want to hear, when later on within the comments, I'm sure we'll be talking about it more or less. But if you want to subscribe, I will definitely post my link within the comments later on. So be on the lookout for that, because I did cover a little bit more, at least from my personal side. But I figured with Nikki and I, as we've been exploring each other, there were a lot of things that popped out in our minds that we were inclined to do something like this for you all to participate, listen, enjoy, and hopefully you can learn something, and you can either
And I
have
do have one more
rewards
thing I want to say.
or you can have
Quick.
consequences. And go ahead, Nikki.
Honesty is always, always, in a relationship, always the best policy.
Yes. And it doesn't matter which relationship you're in, whether it's a
Right.
work relationship, a friendship, a significant other relationship, it doesn't matter.
Right.
But you are the better person when you're honest than if
Mm-hmm.
you run away from the situation and involve others
Right.
to cover for you.
Right.
So the don't is don't involve others with your struggles.
Mm-hmm.
Learn to handle it on your own.
Yep.
And if you don't know how, seek
Ask for
professional
help.
help. Seek professional help, not from your buddies, not from your mommy or your daddy or your sissy or your bro or whatever you want to call it. Go seek professional help. And it's okay to do this because I was against this until I actually went with this. It is okay to seek counseling.
Yes. And if you are in an area, I can't believe I'm saying this,
Go ahead.
where counseling isn't readily available, seek online counseling.
Yes, because nowadays a lot of the counseling services are available online. Thanks to
Right.
our lovely friend, Mr. COVID 19.
Right.
And finally, stay out of jail.
Yes.
Stay out of jail. Don't provoke the situation any more than what it was. Leave your significant other alone. If they ended it with you, if they don't want any contact with you, it's for a reason. Leave them
Exactly.
alone. Let them heal from the damage you, as well as others who were involved, may have inflicted upon that person.
Mm-hmm.
Me, let's say if Nikki and I were to break up,
Mm-hmm.
you bet that I'm not going to sit there and blow up her phone or I'm not going to sit there and beg her or whatever because my theory is once an ex, always an ex. If she wants to seek me and talk about it and say, you know what, I forgive you, maybe we should, maybe we didn't do things, whatever, and I want to give you another chance, I'd rather her reach out to me than for me to reach out to her only to make the situation more uncomforting.
Exactly. With that, respect yourself, respect each other, take
Love,
care.
yep, love, respect, and treat those the way you want to be loved, respected, and treated.
Yep.
Most of all, count your blessings and hold those who you have dear within your heart
Yep.
because tomorrow's not promised, especially I speak to by this by experience since
Yep.
I have experienced two deaths within a 4 day time span within the last week or so.
That's right. Take care. God bless. Stay safe. And we will see you in the next one.
Bye bye.
Bye.